What do you do when you feel fear, anxiety, depression? What do you do?
What I do is I first observe it. I don't run away from it. I see the fear. I acknowledge it. I sit with it. First step is to just be sitting with it and becoming aware of it. Then, when it's really overwhelming, I breathe. Coming back to the breath, the basics. Take deep breaths.
The awareness.
Take deep breaths. Just come back to the basics. Ground yourself.
How you protect yourself from nazar? Because this is real.
It's totally real. It's totally there. The key is to be in love.
Oh.
The key is to really be connected in your heart. Really not let the fears, because how do they impact us? We need to understand how the mechanism works. Mm-hmm. Anything that will infiltrate through us and stay in us, it will happen through our shadows. Shadows can be fears, doubts, insecurities, shame, all of these things. The topics I wrote about 8-9 years ago in book formats in India, nobody knew about ayahuasca at that time in India. It was like maybe some people knew, but like ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca?
Yeah, like the plant medicine from Amazons. You still don't know. So
No.
like it was at that time, like people were like asking me like this, like what is that? So I've had such crazy experiences in my 20s.
How your spiritual journey started?
I think it's still going. It's starting every day. I feel for me spirituality is a way of life. It's not something I see separate from life. It's not something I don't see it as anything. I see it as what life is. For me, it's about having an experience in every moment that is as true and authentic of an experience that can be in my own self, in the awareness of what I'm experiencing in this moment.
Connecting more to ourselves?
Yeah, just being aware. I can be in any state internally. Let's say I'm in a negative state of mind, or I'm in a positive state of mind, or I'm happy, or I'm not happy, I'm in joy, or I'm sad. It's about awareness. Awareness of the moment, awareness of the self, awareness of whatever is happening, awareness of you, awareness of life around me, and seeing everything, experiencing everything as one. And this is something that has always been a big part of my journey, and it has recently become really huge part of my journey because 8-9 months ago I started going through a kind of a death experience.
Oh.
In my own self, about life, about who am I. And I'd been writing about these books for so long, about who am I, about meaning, about purpose, and the most authentic way possible, because when I left all of these things, I already lived the life most young people imagine to live in a very early time of my life. I was in New York. I was living the dream of my dream life of money, of work, of women, of models, of partying. Very early in my 20s, I was living like that. So when I decided to leave all of that, it happened very instantaneously. It happened through a deep calling that was about, this is not the answer.
This is not the answer.
So it was just like yours. It was just about just leaving, and
Yep.
I just left, and I went to Amazons, and I was in the jungles, and I was doing ayahuasca medicines with shamans.
Wow.
So my journey started very
Now I'm jealous.
My journey started very crazily in that sense, and I started writing, and I came to India. I was living in mountains. I didn't have a phone for a year, so I lived very like 1,000 years ago kind of life in the modern system, very bhikshu style, for my first few years of coming back to India. And then I came back into the system. I worked in business world. I did writing. Then I decided to go into the writing world, and I launched my books. Then I came into social media world, where I experienced, I tried to bring authentically things about me and the writings and sharing depth. My whole equation from the beginning was about sharing depth. And then like last year, I saw myself kind of getting lost in the superficiality of things a bit, about getting lost in the character of Kartikeya the writer, Kartikeya the storyteller, Kartikeya the one with the followers, Kartikeya living the Goa life, Kartikeya, everybody knows Kartikeya, he's the guy, he's the cool guy, he's organizing all the parties, in the movements, he's in the underground scenes. I was involved in everything, you name it, I was involved. So I knew all the people, I knew the circles, I was in the limelight. And it started becoming a part of my identity and started taking over my identity, and I started getting lost in my ego. And when I started realizing this, it happened in a very not pleasant ways. Things happen in my life, betrayals happen, things happen financially, things happen materialistically, things happen emotionally, things happen in my own relationships with everybody involved. So it kind of really shook me. And that shaking, when it happened, I knew, and spiritually, I would say, kind of like God interfered, like divine interfered to really show me what was happening. But I would say it interfered in a bit of a teaching way, in a tough way, to really be like, what are you doing?
Okay, can I just,
Yeah.
ask what you do when you feel fear, anxiety, depression? What you do?
What I do is I first observe it. I don't run away from it. I see the fear. I acknowledge it. I sit with it. First step is to just be sitting with it and becoming aware of it. Then, when it's really overwhelming, I breathe, coming back to the breath, the basics. Take deep breaths.
The awareness.
Take deep breaths. Just come back to the basics. Ground yourself. It's all about grounding. And fears are just in our mind. What makes anything real is our mind. So it's about retraining our mind,
Exactly.
reprogramming our mind.
That is manifestation, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, manifestation, yes, we can do that as well, but it's just manifesting a moment that is peaceful through a situation that makes us feel everything is not peaceful, right? And I personally, in this time also, my childhood traumas came up, complex traumas that came up, which was putting me in internally in a fight or flight mode constantly, where my nervous system was constantly like it's in a war zone kind of situation.
And why this death situation? What actually happened?
Oh, so many things happened. I cannot pinpoint one thing. I was traveling, Varanasi happened. My wife and I were having some fights during that time. Some, I would say, more like spiritual interventions happened when we went to Varanasi. Since we left Varanasi, something really changed in me. Like
Varanasi changed me as well in
Varanasi
January.
played a big impact on all of this. I was in the burning ghats. I was in Kashi. I was with Ganga, and it was many things were happening. I've been on a journey.
Manikarnika Ghat.
Yeah, I was there. Many things have been happening for last years. I've been on such an intense journey. I've been into plant medicines. I've created in collaboration with people so many gatherings, so many festivals. So I lived all of this very underground. So I was like the underground guy, creating underground scenes. Never publicly coming out of with all of this. First time I'm publicly talking
I think
out.
that is living.
Yeah, I was really living like properly, living in Amazons, going to Brazil last year, living with my wife in the mountains, and so
I
I've
really
lived,
wish that I can just live it that way for a while.
Yeah, but in the fantasy sense, it looks very nice. But I was living in a very deep sense of like finding the truth. So it was going into very deep, dark spaces, either through plant medicines, either through retreats, either through practices and rituals that were really about going into the fears in the deepest, darkest ways, and just finding peace through all of that. So I really have. Seen darkness in a very deep way. And when I say to people that I'm coming back to share whatever I'm sharing, it's not coming from nowhere, It's coming from some understanding about myself, about having experienced elongated periods of times of moments where you're just dying all the time, where you are experiencing death, where you're experiencing your ego dying, where you're experiencing complete ego death for months, where you have seen and experienced life in a very intense capacity, in a very intense emotional capacity. So for you to get out of it, you have to develop your heart as such a container that you just start channeling love through all of your being in such a deep way, and you find love for all beings and all yourself included. So it's a very liberating process.
I guess this is the base process, starting loving yourself first of
Yeah.
all.
And it has been my big journey of loving myself and loving the child, and many experiences, and not getting trapped in the victim mindset, because it happens to all of us. Is we get trapped in the victim mindset for whatever happens to us in the moment we are in. But the key is to not be trapped in any mindset, is to really get out of the mind, come in our hearts, be with love, and choose from that space and take action from that space.
And how you protect your aura, because I feel your aura is amazing. It's like, very friendly, connecting, lovable, positive, pure, and you're a very grounded person. If I, sense you as a person in a psychic way, you are belong to a very good family, but still living a very grounded life. How?
It's a choice. It's a choice about living a life for yourself where you are not acting.
Is your wife same like you, or she's opposite?
She's even more authentic than me.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why we fight a lot.
I love to meet her.
Our fights are such big teachers for me, because we don't just fight on stupid things. We fight on most authentic things. We fight when I am, let's say, being cold, or I'm not sharing my emotional truth, and uncomfortable things. If I'm not sharing, she wants to hear it. And if she's not sharing, I want to hear it. So, like, it's been such a beautiful journey being married to a woman like her, is because she has truly reflected to me who I really am. And this is my view on marriage and
I guess
relationships.
you attracted one of the soul mates.
Yeah,
the way
for
you are
sure,
speaking.
for sure. I truly believe that marriage or relationships are really about reflection. They're really there to reflect you, who you are.
What you feel, the other should also feel.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
Who you are is who the other person is. So if you are creating division, if you are creating separation, remember, it's the mind and the ego that's creating that. It's not love. Love doesn't create separation. It doesn't do it. So cleansing your aura or that energy field, it's just about love. It's about choosing love. Like I've done many yagnas, and in the March we did a big puja on Ujjain, me and my wife, because we both were going through a hard time, and we went to a Swami and we did a big puja, and the yagna was amazing, and it was really helped us in so many ways, like proper authentic Vedantic yagna, like 7 days in Ujjain, in the Mahashivratri, and we were going to what's the Mahakal there, and Har Siddhi Mandir. We were living right there. It was like proper, proper hardcore authentic, like ashram. The food is being made in the fire, like that kind of stuff. So I've lived, my spiritual life has been like that. I've lived in the jungles of Uttarakhand.
And how you protect yourself from nazar, because this is real.
It's totally real. It's totally there. The key is to be in love. The key is to really be connected in your heart. Really not let the fears, because how do they impact us? We need to understand how the mechanism works. Anything that will infiltrate through us and stay in us, it will happen through our shadows. Shadows can be fears, doubts, insecurities, shame, all of these things. If you have those, and everybody has those, even including me, these things find gateways through that.
Wow.
If you are in love, if you're in that state of frequency, that state of consciousness, you're protected. comes, goes. It will,
It won't harm you.
it cannot harm you. It just cannot.
And how you, if self love or somebody else love is necessary for it, because most people think that somebody else can protect them, but not
No, it's
themselves.
the
Yeah,
key is self-love. The
there's a
key
key of
is
self
being
love.
in love with yourself, because if you're not in love with yourself, you cannot be in love with others. How can
Exactly.
you?
So true.
If you're not fully in what is love? Love is full acceptance of who you are in this moment and living like that. And when you're doing that, you will do that with your loved ones, you will do that with who you meet, and the layers of judgment in ego will break. And when that happens, you become like a channel. And when you are a channel, nothing can stay in you, even your own
Obviously.
mind and your own ego. Everything will flow through you. You're like water. So if you put like ashes in Ganga, it will flow.
Yeah, obviously.
So you can have nazar coming to you, you can have dark magic, darkness, shadows, everything coming to you. Sure. But if the love is there, so strong for the self, it will all go away. It
So
cannot
true.
stay inside you. So this is the key, but it's not so easy to practice. Because when those things do come and take over us, we will lose our censor.
Ourselves, exactly. We
Yeah,
do. I
we do.
understand. I can
And it
relate
happens.
it.
Yeah, it happens.
I have felt it.
It happens.
Even though it's a journey, self love is a journey. You can't stop loving yourself. If you love others, also, first of all, you have to keep yourself a priority. If I ask anybody, people don't keep themselves a priority. People keep other people priority. But when I say it's very important,
This is the
they don't
dilemma of the
understand.
givers. This is the dilemma of the givers, of always trying to compensate for their own emotional hollowness in some capacity to try and just give to fill that. It doesn't work. And I have this too. Like, I'm naturally a giver. So I try to, let's say, if I have to deal with a situation myself, uncomfortable situation myself that's coming up, I will try to
You are a
avoid
healer
that.
also,
I will
because
try to avoid that and do something for others to not look at what I need to look at. But the biggest work, and so many saints have said that in the past, the biggest work we do is on ourselves.
Exactly, so true. Even though you are the protector of yourself. If I'll say about this thing, you are a healer also, just because you're into spiritual journey. When you come into spiritual journey, people will love it. People will love your aura. People will love to meet you. Already, you are in the right path of the life, and this thing is a journey. And even though, if I'll take about these shady things, the things which happen, the dark and all energies, it always follow. It follow the God also. If we'll talk about our kathas and, the things which are happened in the past with our gods. So it always follow you, because you are a pure thing.
Also, the key is, for me, what really helped in my journey with all of this is I stopped segregating the darkness and the light. I started to see darkness as what it is, and I realized if this is the darkness, then what's putting light into it is me. So I am the light, and I don't need to be afraid of the darkness. The darkness is there because of the light.
Wow.
And the darkness is being attracted. If I'm attracting more darkness, it's because I have the capacity to be more in light.
Yes.
So it cannot exist without one another.
Uh-huh.
So duality, in its truest essence, is true because of the non-duality of it.
And it's making you, feel balanced also.
Yes, exactly. You need to have both. Like, it will always be there.
And
it will
what-
always be there to kind of, it's like checks and balances. Like, how do I know I'm in light and love?
Yeah.
How do I know that?
It's a yin yang thing.
Yeah, so
So-
it's that.
Sorry to interrupt, what that tattoo means.
Which
The
one?
left hand. Because you are into spirituality, everything is on your hand, is related
There are
to
many
something.
tattoos, yeah.
Even I love tattoos, I have. So what's this tattoo mean, which is there? in
This
your-
one?
Yes.
Yeah,
Can
this
you
is
show
a Sri Yantra. It's a complex artwork. It's like a big sleeve, so it's
Oh.
connected. Yeah, but this part is a Sri Yantra.
And why? What it's mean for spiritual journey? What it's for you? Because I am so sure it's for something.
Sri Yantra can mean different things for different people. For me, Sri Yantra has always represented kind of protection, like protection, and yeah, mostly just protection for me. Yeah.
I got 7
Yeah.
chakra for protection.
Yeah. So
I
I
understand.
totally like, yeah. So the yagna and love part I was sharing recently when I was in a retreat in April. a wonderful retreat with like a monk, a Buddhist monk from the Theravada tradition. It's a tradition followed in Sri Lanka and Thailand. And the other one was a very old practitioner, and they both were, over 60 years of experience combined.
But they are more connected to lotus.
No, no, the teachers I'm talking about, they were Buddhist
Yeah,
traditions.
Buddhists are more connected to the lotus.
No. So what I'm getting at, I'm making a point is the teacher, one of the teachers said that Buddha used to say, like being in pure states of love and kindness is as powerful as a 7-day yagna you can do.
Wow. Like you got me this blue taco.
So I arrived there doing this retreat after doing like this 7-day yagna, and he said this, and I was like, yeah, it's true. So your biggest source of power
Do you
and
think
strength is inside you.
do you think people actually are kind to each other now?
Uh, I believe so. Yes,
Have
I
you
do.
seen with yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I do think there's intolerance growing in the world. I do, not everywhere. I do like to believe in humanity.
Wow.
I do
Nice.
like to believe in the in
Sharing, giving.
Yeah, I do believe that no matter what, and this is like the negative of social media, I feel it shows us more negative than the positive, and it shows us everything gets amplified because of it, and politics and all of this just preys on the negativity and division of people.
It's what you see.
You know
It's all what you see.
So there is that element, but I do believe deep inside people are good. I do believe if they're not kind, they want to be kind. If they're not loving, they want to be loving. So the path is not about what other people are or how they are and how you see them as. I think the path is about you being the way you want others to be.
Obviously.
So, like there's a beautiful story from Aboriginal people from Australia. It's like a very simple way of describing, like for me personally, like what truth and God is. It's basically God is dreaming, and we're all part of the dream.
Yeah.
So we're all
It's a kind
different
of this,
elements
yeah, it's
of
a,
that.
in
So
India
it's,
we'll say we all are the part of Shakti.
yeah, it's that. So when you like the going inside part, when you're going inside, and like, and this can happen to people without going into deep meditations. It can just be very random. You are sitting on a train and you can experience something like this, right, for 1 second, but it can feel elongated.
It's all about, you said in between, the awareness of self-awareness.
Yeah, so you can go inside and you can feel that divinity, that love, that God, and that can change everything for you, and you can realize this is all there, right? So when that connection happens, you realize that everything else outside is there, and I love it, and I'm here to play the game, but it's not what defines me. It's not what brings me peace. It's not what I'm looking for, right? Sorry. And I think that understanding, when people start having through their own experience.
Okay, did you felt difference within you when you went to Amazon and all these meditations and all? Did you
Of
feel
course.
that? What difference?
I mean, it's all of what I'm sharing, no? I wouldn't know.
But
be sharing all of these things
it's very
without-
deep, being a Kartik from party person, being to a spiritual journey, because spirituality is a journey. It is an endless journey, like a universe is
Yeah, it's
endless.
endless.
Everything is infinite, so it's a journey. Whatever we are feeling, we are saying, it's
It's-
also very infinite feelings.
Yeah, completely. It's
So-
all endless. Yeah.
So which Kartik you like the most?
The person I'm now, it's not about liking. I don't see it that way. I see it all as I love it all. I love the darkest of moments. I love the lightest of moments. I love the partying of the moments. I love the most eccentric.
So you're balancing your life more right now?
For sure. Yeah. I think acceptance for all.
Okay,
And,
people mostly face this issue, like, being into spirituality is waking up early, sleeping at the time. Do you follow this routine also?
I think I've followed it sometimes, but I've also been so off routine, on routine kind of person. So it's like I try to follow it, but yeah, I've gone through periods where I've not slept for months, but not get tired. So it's like I've gone through different
It
processes.
is when you are, very spiritually active.
Yeah, so I've gone through very different processes and phases and experiences and sadhanas so extensively that now I'm just trying to integrate, like the phase I'm in, I'm just trying to integrate into something that works for me in this moment of phase of life where physically my body is changing a lot. Like I've had a lot of injuries as well, physical injuries. So my body is kind of being rebuilt. Emotionally, I got quite exhausted from all these processes. So I'm emotionally rebuilding myself in very deep, subtle, gentle ways. A lot of self love and kindness is happening. So I would say I'm becoming definitely more balanced. I'm becoming um, more accepting of life, just
Aware about.
more easy with
Yeah,
things. And I think this kind of things, I guess, happens with age as well. Um, yeah, just
it's just a journey.
yeah, it's
It's,
it's it
I guess
really
it's
is.
a journey and different experience for each one of us, our
Yeah.
souls. I feel like.
Definitely, every soul is on its own unique journey. Like we all gonna get at the same place at some point, like towards the source. I do feel that will happen eventually, whatever
Obviously.
millions eons later. But yeah, till the time we are in a certain body, we are gonna have different experiences. And I think the most beautiful thing we can do is we can accept each other's experiences, share each
Sure.
other's experiences, not
Yes.
judge. And I personally feel, because I've lived a very unconventional life, not because I label it as unconventional, it's because it's just very different from what majority of people have lived. That doesn't say that I'm in a situation of just privilege. It just says that I'm in a space of understanding that is a bit different
Yeah.
from most people. So I feel that I can, bringing my understanding for other people just brings them something else to look at than what they're always looking at. And I think that is just refreshing for many people.
Yes.
So I feel that that is my role, because, having, I lived the most unconventional 20s anybody has lived in India,
Uh-huh.
really. And I brought, like, the topics I wrote about 8, 9 years ago in book formats in
Mm-hmm.
India. Nobody knew about ayahuasca at that time in India. It was like maybe some people knew, but like nobody
Alaska?
knew ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca?
Yeah, like the plant medicine from Amazons. You still don't know. So like
No.
it was at that time, like people were like asking me like this, like what is that? So I've had such crazy experiences in my 20s that even I couldn't imagine myself that I would have had. And not just because of privilege, but because of this urge you felt after the divorce, just leaving and just going,
Yes.
right? I just did that
Uh-huh.
at like the age of 22 from New York. And then 9 years later, it's just been. I'm now like, whoa, that was something. It's been going on for 9 years. This kind of things, and books happen as part of that, and all these things happen. And now these months is what I've gotten the time to just sit and integrate and be like, what happened in my 20s?
And you have lived this crazy thing and still you are creating such beautiful life. And I think so, you want to teach everybody like spirituality can be a difference within you. This is the thing you want to
Yeah,
say.
I don't think I see myself as a teacher. I really feel
But
I
I felt like.
no, I really don't feel myself as a teacher. I really don't feel like myself as a teacher. I used to at some moments. I felt like I'm here to teach, but through these last 8, 9 months, even that label or concept or identity has broken down. And I truly just feel I'm here to listen and learn and share. Whatever that shapes into, it's fine with me. But for me, it's about understanding. It's about gaining understanding for myself
But
through
whatever
you.
you have shared today, that was actually beautiful. Because people need to understand their value, their worth, and their journey with their soul, mind, and body all together. I
Yeah.
personally believe like.
Yeah, and I personally feel deep inside, everybody's seeking for this only. They may not know it,
Yeah.
but it's the same. So if I'm seeking for this deep inside in my soul, I feel like everybody's seeking for this deep
So
inside
true.
their
Yeah.
soul, because it's all one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that God dream thing. I think when I started realizing like God is dreaming and we're part of that dream, I'm just like, if I'm going through this experience, somehow other people are feeling this somewhere deep down. They might not be aware of it, they might be aware of it, but it's there because I'm experiencing it. So I changed my whole perspective about this is just my experience and it's just mine. No, it's our experience, right? Like the wind is there for everybody, the rain is
I
there for
am telling
everybody.
you, we are all the creator of, like, those five elements, everything in the entire world. So how come we all are different from each? We are not.
Exactly. So that really brings peace, because the idea of separation breaks away. And that separation is created by the ego. And ego is very complex. The way ego works, it is here to keep us caged to this body and to this mind and to this matrix. And breaking out of that ego is almost impossible. Understanding it is almost impossible because it's so complex. The programming of it is very complex. What
Yeah.
we can do best is to work with it in a peaceful way. And to do that, the biggest tools that are there, we have talked about it, it's self-love.
Exactly.
Like self-love in social media world, it's like a very frenzy term now, which is great. I don't mind that. But truly practicing that, it's like hard, man. I don't know for other people. I struggle with it. I struggle with it.
I think people don't understand, end of the day, they are into ego until and unless, they become self-aware
Yeah.
that something is going wrong within them.
Yeah.
So I think so, like self-love and spiritual journey, both are the part of this.
Yeah, and forgiveness. Like these two have played a big role in my journey. Like self-love, self-forgiveness. Just forgiving myself through all of it, and yeah, and like forgiving others, man. Like there's this beautiful saying in Buddhism. We got this in this retreat. Is whatever you're seeing outside of you happening, right? Like this person is a cameraman, this person is a prime minister, this person is a celebrity, like very big. You have been all of those things in one of your lives. All of those things. So whatever you want to be, you've already been that. So it's just about not being anything, but
Just
being
be
with
yourself.
yourself
So true.
inside.
Yeah.
And that self is selfless.
Yeah.
And has no form or any of these ideas, labels, identities, ego forms. And this, my God, I think if people start realizing in today's time, in modern day India, it will solve so many problems.
So true.
So many relationships will get sorted. So many families will be saved. People cannot be in healthy relationships anymore.
Yeah.
With themselves, with their families, with their loved ones. It's like the hardest thing. This is so sad. It's the saddest thing that exists in this world of humans right now. We're growing so much materialistically, technologically, but we can't figure out our relationships. It's only getting worse, actually.
I don't even want to jump from spirituality to relationship because, I think so. Let's just keep it to the spiritual right now.
No, but they're connected.
They are connected,
They're
but
completely
people-
connected because
they are connecting-
relationship with others is very connected to the relationship with the self.
Exactly.
And self relationship
Self-relationship
is the key.
is okay.
Spirituality is about self relationship. It's about how much love you're catered for yourself, how much understanding you have developed for yourself, how much change you're willing to bring for yourself.
What you're talking about, I remember a person when I used to play lawn tennis. I used to play before I broken my leg. So there was a person I used to see every day. He was like, I'm not sure what he used to do, manifest or something, a very creative person. The ball he used to hit with a very his own created racket just at the one place, every time at the one place. And I was like, I feel used to see him and see like, how connected that person is with himself. Because when we are connected with ourselves, we used to, we do things up to a point, up to a mark. But when we lose that, we get distracted or we lose that
Hmm.
distraction, the ball will hit out of the way. So I think it's more about considering and self consciousness and self love with the self awareness of your soul demand.
Yeah.
Then your
Yeah.
relationship builds with yourself.
Yes.
Then when you build the relation bridge with yourself, when you understand yourself, when we talk to ourselves, then we start creating that bridge with others.
Yeah. And
Because
this is something I'm working on, the creating bridge with others is communication.
yes,
It's my weakness. It doesn't look like it right now, but in intimate relationships I struggle with communication.
I guess
So it's something
everybody,
I'm really, yeah, everybody, and it's
everybody.
like it's that building that bridge is it's yeah, it's all
It's
and
all your mind actually.
yeah, it's mine, it's many things, but it's a beautiful journey. I do see it all as a like big learning curve. I do see it all as a way of really just embracing our soul's journey, because whatever is there is for us to find our peace.
And even purpose.
Yeah, I don't know about that purpose. I don't think that thing. I'm not so. I don't think so much about it anymore. Even though I've written a book like about it and all those things, like
Hmm.
purpose, meaning, I think it was more of a thing I was into. I think now it's. I guess I've moved a bit past it, in the sense like, because I've spent so many years already writing and doing all these things, that they flow very naturally for me, in that sense, like I have that. But for me, it's become about peace. It's about being in peace, and being kind of like useful, in the sense about like being like, for example, in May, my grandfather's health was not good this
Hmm.
May, and I was the one. I think the situation was that the situation demanded that I be the really responsible one in the scenario and take care of him and handle the situation, and I did that. The situation demanded, put me in a situation that the right thing was to do was that, and I did that with a lot of love. So I think life is not so much about trying to control all the things. I think it's about sometimes also giving the scope, like, this is what it has brought to you.
Actually,
What do you choose, like, and why?
it's going with the flow. It's
Yeah.
floating with the water. It's not like floating in reverse. So that
Yeah.
you can actually learn and grasp and become more self conscious.
Yeah, and like meaning and purpose are something I feel personally that are constantly evolving as well. And we are constantly evolving. And whatever we get sometimes, I think young people sometimes also get too caught up in looking for a meaning and looking for purpose and looking for one thing to do that will solve everything. It doesn't work that way. You may find that one thing, for me, it was writing. 8 years, 9 years later, I'm not being able to write. So it's like that evolved
You
into something else.
yeah, so true. I used to paint. There was a time I used to paint very big canvas balls, but right now I don't want to paint. I have the colors. I don't even want to touch. I don't know
Exactly.
why. I don't know the
And you don't need
reason.
to know why. It's okay. It's okay to not know. And it's
I
okay to not have a
I
meaning
am
or a
into
purpose in this moment. It's
research.
okay.
I'm into complete different thing. I'm into research of astrology, the Kundali and Vedic things.
And I think it's beautiful. I think meaning or purpose, our attachment to it can create a lot of
Somewhere
limitation.
I know
It
it's
can create a lot of
yeah.
limitation, and that we need to be just this. And if we have chosen that, we need to be just do that. If we don't have it, we need to do something. No, we need to just breathe, relax, and flow. We need
and
to choose. The choosing will happen. Go with it, stay with it, keep doing it.
don't
Maybe the
just
flow is not there. It's okay. Try something else.
give up.
Do a different job. Yeah,
Yeah.
just keep moving forward.
Uh-huh.
Thank you everyone for watching this podcast. I had a wonderful time with Sakshi. I hope you enjoyed this podcast and took some learnings from it. some wisdom, and hope the Gen Z is not upset from us. But we try to only bring our own authentic versions to this show, and hope you enjoy and hope you keep watching us. Take care. Lots of love.